Hi, I'm Frank Becerra. This is a Technically News special report. I'm here with the three brains behind Pro Vita Hemp, a new CBD line that we're here to talk to you about today. Please meet Diamonte, Chris, and Mike. Guys, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having us, Frankie.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, if you take a look at the table, you might notice some jars, but they're not just filled with marijuana. It's a little bit something different. Chris, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so the jars, if you can see, are filled with industrial hemp. And basically, industrial hemp has been legal now since December 21st of 2018. And a lot of people are just getting them for retail sale. You can see them at, as commonly as gas stations, smoke shops, specialty food stores. Hemp is really becoming prevalent across the nation, and in more forms commonly seen as CBD, either capsules, tinctures, creams. It's really becoming very popular across all age groups, all demographics.
Okay. And now we mentioned it's not marijuana, it is hemp. What exactly is the difference for those of our viewers that might not know?
So industrial hemp is classified by the federal government as the cannabis sativa L plant with that contains not more than 0.3% delta-9 THC by dry weight. And what that means is delta-9 THC is the chemical in marijuana that gets you high.
Psychoactive.
The psychoactive effects are associated with it, and industrial hemp has less than 0.3%, which is considered negligible and non-psychoactive by the federal government.
Okay. Now, how long have you guys had this business going on, Diamante?
We've been in business for about 2 months now, and it's growing quickly. We've started it in the first week of June, second week of June.
Yep.
And in the last 2.5 months, we've grown to over 65 stores.
Wow.
And looking to expand even more significantly in the next coming months.
Okay. And what made you want to get involved in the hemp business?
I think the opportunity. The way I see it, it's a modern day gold rush. It'd be one of those things that I can either get involved now or sit on the sideline and wait and see what could have happened. Okay. And I don't think that this one of the opportunities that I wanted to miss. And I'm glad, luckily, Chris and I came up with an idea, and a couple months later, we're here.
All right. And how did the three of you get involved with one another to form this company?
Mike?
Me and Diamante grew up together. I think I met him in 7th grade.
Yep.
Chris, I've met along my employee travels, met him in door-to-door business, and kind of traveled back into paths together and kind of came to the idea and came to a crossroads and kind of ran with the idea.
Absolutely. Okay. I think that, so Chris and I had met in boarding school almost 10 years ago at this point.
Yep.
Time had passed and we had disconnected, but like I said, at Richard Allen, the firm we worked at for Verizon, we reconnected, and all three of us knew that there was something else out there for us, and eventually this came to be, and we are thankful for that.
Very thankful.
It's very happy.
Very much so.
Yeah. Now, at this point, you mentioned that it's about 2 months into this venture for you guys in something like 65 stores, you said?
Give or take?
Yep.
Is this at a point where this is your full-time job for any of you?
I would say so. It's a full-time commitment. I come out of a real estate business, so does Chris. But as I said, as the business continues to grow, we know that our commitment needs to shift and we need to be there day-to-day, full-time, especially with some of our long-term goals that we can hopefully share with you guys as the show goes on.
Right. And you mentioned that this hemp that you guys provide was legalized in late 2018, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that statewide legalization or nationwide legalization?
So it was legalized federally in December last year. There are 4 states currently in the Midwest that don't allow for hemp and CBD.
Okay.
It's Nebraska, South Dakota, Wyoming, and one more state.
I think Indiana or Illinois, one of the two.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not really in our geographic area.
Yeah. So fuck them.
And
so fuck 'em.
Well, at the same time, it's people have brought court cases against those states because it's unconstitutional.
Absolutely.
The state going against the federal government. Obviously, states have their own power, but the entire shift is happening across the country. Mm-hmm. It's been proven to be a safe, consumable in all of its forms.
Right.
And so those states are really kind of the old holdouts. And what you'll notice is those states are really big on the corn and soybean subsidies.
Okay.
And bringing in hemp would drastically change
the dynamic of things.
Their economic reality in those states.
Okay. And do you think that the economic aspect to it is why something like hemp and to a lesser extent marijuana have taken such a long fight to reach legalization?
Yeah, so what you'll see with hemp, marijuana is it's a completely different animal, but with hemp, hemp was less than $100 million business in 2015.
Okay.
And it's grown to a $450 million business in 2017. And it's supposed to hit $1 billion by the end of the year.
Wow.
Nationwide.
Okay.
And so there are very few other product categories or industry types where the industry hits over $1 billion in value in less than 5 years.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the applications for hemp, and they really just displace a lot of the established industries. So for construction, fiber, especially the medical applications of CBD right now, which are still being tested. Not really allowed to speak with certainty about what it does, but there's tons of anecdotal evidence and even scientific evidence, maybe not up to the standard of the FDA, but studies are being done on all of the benefits of CBD. And as you'll see, hemp and CBD is supposed to be anywhere between a $3 to $5 billion market by 2022.
Oh, wow.
And I've seen estimates go as high as $30 billion by 2025.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, you mentioned hemp and CBD, two different things.
Yes.
What's CBD? Because I feel like that's what's kind of been having this boom recently. I know I've seen there's CBD in gummies, CBD in ointments. What exactly is the CBD? Because the hemp is the plant itself, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So hemp is the plant and CBD is cannabidiol, and it's one of the cannabinoids in cannabis plants that have different effects for people. And basically, humans have an endocannabinoid system and receptors.
Mammals do.
So it's part of their mammals, fish, includes humans, dogs,
Horses.
a lot of the pets that people have.
Right.
And essentially, our brains are actually wired with receptors for cannabinoids.
Okay.
CBD is just the one that's been really kind of isolated and pointed out so far as having anti-seizure, neuroprotective, anti-inflammatory, anti-stress, anti-psychosis.
Right.
It has the widest ranging effects. It's the easiest to breed the plant to produce.
Okay.
And so CBD is really the chemical where even in the medical marijuana fields, we've seen that a lot of our customers have a medical marijuana card,
Right.
but most of what's sold in the medical marijuana industry is high THC product. So when you go to the medical marijuana dispensary, a lot of those people who are going for pain or actual physical ailments, they don't want to get high. They just want relief.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so CBD is actually the chemical that provides a lot of that relief for people in whatever form, once again, stress, insomnia, pain. And that's kind of the isolated chemical that people are really in the market for at this time.
Okay. So you mentioned the health benefits, but now, and this might come to a shock to our viewers that can see what I look like, but I don't smoke marijuana. So is this also kind of a decent substitute for the recreational drug, Mike?
I think we're trying to get people away from the substance abuse. So if we can get people off of THC, that's definitely the goal. Get people away from nicotine, away from alcohol.
Right.
It's not going to get you high per se. You wouldn't be like chasing around dragons in the forest, you know what I mean? It would get you relaxed. It's very mellow. It's, I would say the equivalent is to maybe...
There is no equivalent.
Yeah,
The way
I'd
I've
say.
seen it, coming from someone who does from time to time enjoy THC and nicotine, it's positioned itself where I don't see anything like it. The way I feel, I'm not high, I'm not drunk, I have full control, but I do feel the relief that I'm looking for, with whether it be anxiety, whether I can't go to sleep, whether it's, a stomach ailment, whatever it is, I am seeing relief in the CBD. That's what it is. Not only as a business opportunity, I see it actually having full wide range applications.
Okay. Now, at the time of this taping, we're about maybe 2 weeks after the vaping ban that recently took place in the United States.
Yes.
Do you see that ban as a benefit to your business or kind of a danger to something that, God forbid, it happens to this as well in the future?
I see it as a benefit to society.
Okay.
What I think it does, it allows the people to choose. I mean, although, e-cigarettes have been banned, and I hate to correct you, but not nationwide in New York State.
Okay.
I see us running very parallel. I don't see there being much of a correlation, although we do provide more of an organic relief and more. That's synthetic, and I don't think that we compare in any way. So I prefer CBD speaks for itself.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all natural, so there's no
Yeah, it
chemicals
is.
involved in it. So
Right.
if you're the first person to die of smoking weed, you've done something amazing because it's never happened a day
Right.
ever.
And I think to an extent, you look like less of a dick.
Do you less of a
Absolutely.
dick?
Because and
Absolutely.
this is no disrespect to vapors out there, but I don't like walking behind the big clouds.
Yes,
Like if I'm
yes.
walking down the street in the city or something, I don't need to just walk into a mist of cotton candy. Like
Yeah,
I
there's
didn't.
nothing worse than a group of them.
Right, exactly.
So individual vapors are one thing, but a group of them,
Right.
when they're together, it's a lot to deal with.
They get competitive
Yes.
to who can blow the fattest clouds.
Yeah,
And
that
in
is
the end, they're
very-
all the losers. It's a shame. You hate to see
I
it.
hate to see it. Yeah. I think that, like I said, to answer your question again, like I said, I do see the ban helping us,
Okay.
but I see it being more of a benefit to society as a whole.
Okay,
than
and
it
that
is
makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's a pivotal point now in the market that we do get the word out there during this ban, because those people that are looking for a nicotine fix, they
Yes.
might find their fix in CBD, which is great because it's all natural, it's healthy, it's
Yes.
something
And
you
there's-
can confidently
Right.
push because it's all natural and it will help the world as a whole.
So now, when vaping first kind of hit the first big wave that it did, it was marketed as a way to quit nicotine.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you see this as an alternative to not only quit nicotine, but now quit vaping for those that want to do that?
Well, I would say it's it has its own place in the market,
Okay.
especially with its pretty targeted use. We definitely have customers who
Right.
have switched from smoking cigarettes to our pre-rolls.
Okay.
A lot of people have an oral fixation. They like to smoke, like the actual act of
Yeah.
smoking.
Yep.
But whether it's clove cigarettes, nicotine, if there's an alternative, they'll seek it out,
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
opposed to actual cigarettes. But most of the people who are using CBD either have the first time curious purchaser who
Right.
sees something that looks like weed on the shelf,
Right.
just got to try it.
Yeah.
And then you have the majority of our customers who are looking for a specific type of effect or relief for a certain ailment, and they're really coming in for a certain quality product with a certain effect to improve their quality of life in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. And now you mentioned this is a product that people can see on shelves in stores now.
Yep.
What kind of stores is this available in? Because I know that now where states have legal marijuana, there are dispensaries where you can, for the sole purpose, go to buy marijuana and marijuana accessories. Where would someone get something like this? What kind of store?
Smoke shops, gas stations, convenience stores. We're in bodegas. At this stage, speaking on dispensaries,
Yeah.
we're looking to in the near future bring one of the first dispensaries to the local area.
Oh, okay.
That's one of our long-term goals with Pro Vita. So it can be found anywhere.
Okay.
At this point.
And do you think in the future you see this also being for sale in marijuana dispensaries, or is that not a line you want to cross?
Yeah, so that's actually, 2 points. One, you can find CBD now in Whole Foods,
Right.
Kroger's grocery stores,
Yeah.
Cumberland Farms, Macy's.
Right.
Macy's does CBD creams.
Oh, wow.
Right, so it's at every level of society, from high end, daily use. Wherever you can find CBD, you can find it in little energy shots, the
Right.
tinctures, creams, pretty much any retail location.
Okay.
Any big mall or something, you can probably find a retailer who sells some sort of CBD.
Okay.
And then what was your other question?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I
That's
lost
okay.
it.
Yeah. Smoke too much weed.
Yeah, well, I look like it, but no, I do believe that because my mom, she was in upstate New York recently, and she came back. She had brought a little kind of like drop bottle of THC
Yep. Okay.
she wanted to give it to my dog because my dog's anxious a lot,
Yep.
and we literally only have done it once. It's been in our cabinet for the past 3 months, and I'm like, why'd you just buy it if you're never going to use it? But that's neither here nor there.
The
at
one
this
thing
point.
I have seen about, especially medicinal-related THC or CBD consumption, it's about the prolonged use and the consistency.
Okay.
It's not something you take as well. There definitely is applications that are as needed,
Okay.
but it's mostly beneficial when it's built up and it's in your system. And the minimum or the After 2 weeks or 3 weeks, what's the milligrams that can be found in your system?
Yeah, so it's
I know we had discussed
yeah,
this
so
in the past.
CBD has about a 3-day half-life.
3-day
Okay.
half-life, okay.
So the people who benefit the most, CBD works in as little as 15 to 20 minutes for your first dose.
Okay.
However you consume it, either with a vapable, tincture, cream,
Right.
smoking it. But the CBD actually builds up in your system for about 3 days.
Okay.
So if you take it twice a day,
Okay.
by the third day you'll have over 2.5 times the dose in your system still
Yes.
to bring you the most amount of relief on a consistent basis.
Okay.
And
Everybody's dose is going to be different for CBD. There's
Right.
not like
Yes.
one dose that is recommended.
Okay.
It's take as needed as
Right.
you feel. Take more if you want. See how you feel. The next day, take a little less. See how you feel.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's how much you need. It's kind of take as needed and kind of see how it works for you.
Okay. Now, if I was someone who used your product regularly, if I, as you mentioned, you have the pre-rolls, if I smoked one of those after work every once in a while, and then the next day at work I was told that they're doing a random drug test, would I be in trouble? Does this show up like marijuana would?
so hemp flower and full spectrum CBD products,
Yeah.
which are extracted from the whole plant, nothing's changed. They do contain trace amounts of THC.
Okay.
So yes, the disclaimer I would say is that using CBD products that are labeled full spectrum or consuming natural hemp in a flower form, you run the risk of testing positive for a drug test.
Okay.
But a lot of that, once again, depends on your personal metabolism, how much you consume. Right? There are people who use CBD products and pass every drug test that comes their way,
Okay.
and that's more of a function of their body's metabolism and how much they consume.
Right.
But for a lot of people out there, there are CBD isolate products, which is 99.9% CBD
Okay.
and no trace amounts of THC. And a lot of our professional clients, parents, whoever are concerned about a drug test or some sort of psychoactive effect, they'll take CBD isolate.
Okay.
So there is a safe product category on the market for people who are getting drug tested.
Okay.
And it can be from, even the smokables. There are people who make lavender cigarettes with CBD isolate on them, right? So in any way or form that CBD is consumed, you can get it without THC.
Okay.
But the full spectrum and the natural hemp all
Right.
have trace amounts.
Okay. That makes sense.
If you drink a couple glasses of water, that probably would wash right out of your system in
Right.
5 to 6 days maximum.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not something you really have to
Get
worry
that
about
metabolism
too
kicked up
much.
a little bit.
I've known people that are going through substance abuse and get drug tested, and they actually recommend
Yes,
using
exactly,
CBD.
recommend. That's exactly what I've seen as well.
Really?
It's a very interesting space because, once again, from the doctors and our high-end clients, we also have customers who are, on parole or getting regularly drug tested for something.
Right.
And their parole officers have recommended that they smoke
wow.
CBD.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because once again, if you in most of our experience, if you smoke it on Friday or you consume it on Friday, you will be clean on Monday.
Okay.
If you smoke Friday night and you take a drug test Saturday morning,
Right.
that's a little tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of these substance abuse places, they're going through the opioid addictions,
Right.
and they have to wean off of that. And sometimes there's no clean exit route, so CBD is definitely a great exit route for them.
Yeah,
Helping them out a
absolutely.
little bit. Now, again, we mentioned 65 stores as of right now. We're taping this in Putnam County, New York. Are most of those stores around here, or have you spread out a little bit more than that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with our partner being based in Connecticut, we've
Okay.
kind of attacked from the New Haven area
Okay.
out to Dutchess County and kind of focused on smoke shops, gas stations, and convenience stores in between.
Okay. And do you have plans to eventually go nationwide, coast to coast,
Oh,
like if
absolutely.
there was someone in like Seattle or LA or something
Absolutely.
like that?
I
Okay.
I think the first part of that will be establishing our social media presence and
Okay.
establishing our brand identity online.
Okay.
That'll help us get the nationwide appeal, but definitely nationwide is our goal.
Then you mentioned social media. Where can people find you on social media?
Pro
those
Vita
people
Hemp
who
on
wanna-
Instagram,
Okay.
Facebook, I believe we may have
Yeah.
up, but we're still working on getting it finished.
Okay.
But the website.
And we have
is
a
also-
website?
Yes, provitahemp.com as well.
Okay, so Pro Vita Hemp, and probably just a search in either of those.
Be the first pick.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great. Now, let's talk about the product a little bit because, as we mentioned earlier, we have looks like 10 jars right here. Do we have a favorite? If you had to pick favorites?
I'll let Chris answer first.
Yeah, I'm going to say right now it's on a week-to-week basis.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
The hemp market it's the Wild West right now.
Yeah.
It's absolutely changing on a day-by-day basis.
Okay.
You'll go to a farm, they'll have 1,000 pounds one day.
Oh, wow.
You'll place an order, the next day it's gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
literally.
And that's really how it is. People who have quality products, to reiterate, we send back 7 out of 10 pounds that we see
Okay.
for quality issues.
Oh, wow.
And so if you find a good producer or
Yeah.
a good supplier, odds are they're going to be sold out before you can reorder.
Okay.
So we work with over 15 farms to
Wow.
procure the best product possible at the time,
Okay.
and it's rapidly changing. And like we said, it's harvest time right now in the major, I guess I would say, hemp heartlands. So
Okay.
Oregon, Colorado, Utah, even in New York, we're
Carolinas
harvesting
as well.
right now in Putnam County,
Okay.
down in North Carolina. The entire country is harvesting their hemp right now.
Okay.
So there's so much supply out there that we're fortunate to really get our pick as
Right.
a business that's involved. But really, it's on a week-to-week basis of what's fresh and what's good.
Right.
I would say my personal favorite, we actually only ran a sample of. It was hemp cigarettes.
Okay.
So we were the only company there are two main competitors at this time. We were the only company that made hemp cigarettes in hemp paper and hemp filters.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
is
it's full animal hemp at that point.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's, in my opinion, if there's any product that can be advertised as a natural alternative to cigarettes, it's
Right.
probably that.
Okay.
I think that once we can kind of establish our plan for that and our process for that, that'll be the game changer.
Right.
For sure.
Mike, do you have a favorite?
I mean, I smoke one of the pre-rolls every morning.
Okay.
So I would have to go with one of the pre-rolls.
So how does it help your day? How does it change your day?
I wake up and I strive for greatness every single day.
Every single
Yep.
day? Same here. That's the
Got
goal.
it.
All right. Now, like we said, you guys are about 2 months into this venture.
Yes.
And again, I'm just I keep saying the number 65 stores because that's
Yes.
impressive. That's about 65 days. That's about a store a day since you guys have started.
Give or take.
Where do you see it going from here, business-wise?
10 times.
Yeah.
I think even 10 times would be
Limited.
scratching
Wow.
the surface. Yeah, I think
Okay.
I know what we're capable of.
Right.
And the timing of the market, I think it's the sky's the
Right.
limit, to say the least.
So theoretically, if the four of us were to sit back down a year from today,
Mm-hmm.
what would you expect to be able to tell me about what's changed in the past year
We've
for you?
opened 10 stores.
Okay.
I
10 of
think-
your own stores.
Yes, of our
Pro
own
Vita
stores.
hemp on the side.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that would be scratching the surface. And
I
Chris, some
think
of your goals?
we'd probably get into at least regional distribution. Right now we're working with some distributors in Georgia, New
Okay.
Jersey, other states to distribute for us.
Right.
And it wouldn't be out of the question for us to be in between like 600 and 1,000 stores where you
Wow.
can find
10
our
times.
product.
Yeah.
And it's really, people can't get enough of it right now,
Okay.
and especially at a quality point. There are a lot of competitors who are in plastic packaging with clearly dried or brown products,
Right.
kind of a different, like a lower price point. And then, to let you guys behind the curtain, there's 4 companies right now that produce over half of the CB products for the nation.
Okay.
3 of them in Florida, I forget where the last one is, but they white label everything.
Okay.
So a lot of the products on the market right now are only distinguishable by each other through their labeling.
Right.
The quality is all even across the board, and it's good.
Right.
It passes the mark. I have no complaints about the products, but if you're really, a quality conscious consumer, there are companies like Pro Vita where we source everything ourselves, make sure it's the highest quality, and we'll take a little haircut off our bottom line in order to retain customers.
Yes,
All right.
exactly.
Now, where we are right now, we've got an election coming up. A lot of candidates are including the legalization of marijuana, at least as a talking point, if not as a cornerstone of their platform.
Absolutely.
Visually, I think an average American would see what's in these jars and just say, "Oh, that's weed."
Yes.
Do you think do you in general support a legalization of marijuana, and do you think it would affect your business? Open to anyone.
I don't believe it affect our business per se, and I'm indifferent or on the fence about the legalization of marijuana. The main reason why is I'm not too sure the parties involved. Once it becomes legalized,
Okay.
I'm not sure if I would like to smoke government-grown weed.
Right.
I'd have to get back to you in a year when we reconnect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely support the legalization of marijuana. I don't think it hurts anybody. I think that CBD and marijuana are two different categories for the most part.
Okay.
There are places in medical dispensaries that do 1-to-1 CBD ratio, CBD THC ratios, which I think is an even correlation for most people. Getting into the THC market, at least that's a place to start, because CBD is really what the body needs. The THC is strictly just for pain.
Yeah.
THC is really targeted at people that have cancer, that are terminally ill. So CBD is really the thing that people need to relieve their pains,
Day-to-day
their worries.
issues,
They
yeah.
don't need the THC, but I definitely do support the option to choose.
Okay. Now, if we're looking at both hemp and marijuana from a strictly recreational usage, and I'm kind of just saying this to help myself understand it better, hopefully it'll help the viewers understand it better, would it make sense to say hemp and marijuana are as to beer and wine?
I think it's more to
they're
beer
consumed
to
similar
non-alcohol.
ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like an O'Doul's almost. If
Okay.
you're,
Yeah, that's the way I would probably correlate
Okay.
the two. Yep.
Right. Because I don't know
but
anyone that would say
it's
beer
still
and wine
two
are the same
different.
thing.
It's still two kind of different categories of. Alcohol is a lot worse than THC, in my opinion.
But your analogy is very succinct. Where
Okay.
O'Doul's is less than 1%.
Right.
Alcohol, we're
Exactly.
under % THC.
Okay.
If you have 20 O'Doul's,
Right.
you might get there.
Right.
Right? You might get where you're trying to be.
Right.
Exactly.
But it takes
Which we
vastly
wouldn't
more
recommend
effort.
to anyone.
Absolutely.
I'm just.
No.
I'll say that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
It's a
if
bad
you even
idea.
could.
Yeah.
But we see hemp being used recreationally for especially a certain age group,
Okay.
mostly over the age of 50, where the current industrial hemp, quality industrial hemp flower, is now testing at what seized marijuana by the DEA in the 70s was what they call Mexican brickweed.
Right.
So it definitely does something in a high enough quantity.
Okay.
But the majority of people who use our product are looking for either relief from pain, anxiety, or insomnia.
Right.
Those
Which
are the three
I
bigs.
think that if you take the millennial market, if most of them did smoke CBD and gave it a shot once or twice, they would realize that they don't really even need the THC. They would be okay with
Right.
the CBD.
There's other options, and I think that's kind of as we wrap up the main thing. That one of the biggest messages here, there are other options, specifically Pro Vita Hemp, which
Absolutely.
you can find out more on their website, provitahemp.com.
Or follow us on Instagram.
Follow them on Instagram. A simple search on Instagram for Pro Vita Hemp will find you. I want to thank the brains behind Pro Vita Hemp for being here with us today.
Thank you for having
I want to
us.
thank our
Thank you.
viewers
Appreciate it.
for
You guys as well.
viewing.
Thank you.
This has been a Technically News special report. Thank you, and have a great night, or whenever you're watching this.